Hello, all, and welcome back to another episode of Race First Safe, where we run from toxic into safety. My name is Brittany Owens, and I am your Race First Safe podcast host. So, I want to welcome all you beautiful, gorgeous, fearfully, and wonderfully made ladies. How are you all today? Thank you for taking the time out your day to stop and listen to my message. Today, we're going to be talking about in this episode when healing feels lonely. And healing can feel lonely not because you're alone, but because you're changing. And when you change, everything around you has to adjust to the new version of you because the old version no longer exists. When you start healing from trauma, from abuse, from toxic cycles, you begin to outgrow things that once felt normal. You outgrow chaos. What was loud makes you cringe instead of happy. You outgrow certain conversations. You no longer entertain gossip. Instead of trying to get the 411, you're hanging up the phone now, right? You outgrow being the strong one. You no longer want to be the one who wants to figure it all out or who got the answer and the solution. You sit back and you look for someone else who can resolve the issues. You outgrow being the one who tolerates everything, putting up with the disrespect, being called out your name, no longer satisfy you. You outgrown the version of you that kept you up. Your nervous system is being reset. Your mindset is being reset. Everything is changing. And that is a shift. And when healing feels lonely, it feels like isolation because it is. Nobody really prepares you for that part of being secluded so that you can go through transformation into the new version of you. Many people tell you that healing is beautiful because it is. And they tell you that healing is freeing, and it is. It's so much freedom being healed and whole. And they tell you healing is empowering, and it is. You feel alive again, and you're able to fulfill your purpose. You're able to think with clarity. But no one ever tells you that healing can get quiet. And I mean, sitting in pure silence in your room, hoping the walls would at least talk to you, because when you're healing, you want peace, and peace is quiet. And when your life has been so loud for years, quiet definitely feels uncomfortable. Some of you listening right now are in that quiet season. You don't argue the way that you used to. Like, what? You be like, oh, they can have that. You used to be the person to be like, oh, I got to get the last word. I'm gonna say the last word. I'm like, they ain't gonna win this argument. But now you just be like, oh, they got that. They can have that. That don't deserve my energy. And you don't react the way that you used to. I know personally, me before my healing journey, I used to go from 0 to 100 quick. Man, we'll fight, we can tussle, you can go whatever jail, whatever county we in, we can go there. But what did that do in the long run besides create a, a record that you can't get rid of? And then you still in a place to where you're isolated and got nothing but time to think about life the consequences of your actions and still have to deal with the inner core of being wounded and you how you're going to move forward and healing that wound so that you can be healed and whole and thrive and not live in survival and toxic cycles, that serves you no purpose. And you, when healing, you don't entertain the same drama. So you don't like gossip. And when you're healing, you don't chase the same validation. Like, you seek to people please. You got to get everybody got to say, "Oh, you like what I got on?" Like, who cares if people like what you got on or don't like what you got on? Like, you like it. Or, hey, you think I should do this? Who cares? What do you think you should do? Do you consult God with what you should be doing? Why do we care about what others have to think? Because, like the saying goes, whether I'm doing good or bad, they gonna talk about me. So it don't matter. Why we concerned about validation from others? So now that we're in this healing spot, we're in a place to where we crave peace, like peace. I don't have time for distractions, foolishness, gossip, drama, people pleasing, being an overgiver, overextending myself in my services when all I want is quiet, order, structure, stability, growth, to be healed, to be whole, so I can be the best version of me for me, so I can love me in the best capacity, in the best way that I can, so that when I do step into new relationships, I can show up whole, healed, not wounded, and 50% or 60% because when we can't be the best version of ourselves, we're no good for anyone. We're not even good for ourselves because we don't even know how to love ourselves. How many times have we heard that we, we teach people how to treat us? And we're treating us bad because self love, it starts with self love. We're treating ourselves bad. How do we want others to respect us, love us, care for us, nurture us? Like, you don't even love yourself. You won't even fix your hair. You won't put on your makeup. You won't, groom yourself. You won't even talk to yourself and tell yourself that you love you and that you're beautiful, that you want other people to put you on this high pedestal when you think so lowly of yourself. So you have to treat and love yourself more first before requiring somebody else to love you. And you have to be whole so that you can show up whole. That was just a little extra nugget. That ain't even in my notes. But moving right along. And peace doesn't always come with the crowd. So some of you all get mad because I'm in this healing journey. I'm isolated. I feel secluded from the world. And that's all right. Cause sometimes that's all you need. All you've done was be on every scene, know all the gossip. Every time you turn around, you on the phone and you know about Pookie, Ray Ray, Shanika, and them, and Nene, and Tim, Johnny, Dick, and Harry. Like, no. Knowing about everybody else, you can't know nothing about you. You can't heal your inner wounds. You can't deal with self because self is not worried about self. Self is already worried about what someone else got going on because self don't want to have to sit down and look in the mirror and heal what's broken. Enjoy the process, the journey, the transformation of when healing is lonely, you know, and healing feels lonely because you stop performing roles. You stop putting on this mask. Y'all, 90s babies grew up and we used to look at the mask and He would take the mask off and he would put the mask on and he'll become this different person. That's what we do. We put on roles or different identities to try to fit in with the crowd, fit in with culture, fit in with our friends, fit in the corporate America world when God didn't call us to fit in. He called us to stand out because he said that he handcrafted us, made each one of us uniquely different, handcrafted by the Father, fearfully and wonderfully made of a royal priesthood. So why are we trying to be performers and be something and someone that we're not? Like, you're not the overgiver anymore. You're not the fixer anymore. You're not the emotional dumping ground anymore. And you need to stand on business when you say you're not the emotional dumping ground no more. Because how many of us will literally be our friends or whoever emotional dumping ground, and then when it's your turn to need emotional support, they ain't nowhere to be found, or all of a sudden they got to end the conversation short, or you could have been chilling with them at their house, or vice versa, they at your house, and all of a sudden they got to go. They got a million things to do and could never be that shoulder for you to lean on or even cry on, but yet they want you to feel what they feel. That ain't a friend. That's a user. And when they up, they don't need you. But when they down, they always want to be around. So that they can get they fix from you so that you could boost them back up. You could boost their confidence. You can, boost their morale. But when you need the same in return, they like Casper. They just disappear. So moving right along, stand on business. And do not allow yourself to be anyone emotional dumping ground anymore. And now that you're healing, you're not laughing at disrespect to keep the peace anymore. How many women here that's listening have tolerated being called out there? Some of you all who are in domestic abuse or have experienced domestic abuse, how many more times are you going to be the punching bag? When is enough going to be enough? When are you going to step away? When are you going to say, I will no longer tolerate the disrespect? How many times are you going to keep going and showing up on that job and say you sick or you got the flu and they want you to continue to show up or they want to write you up because you're sick? How can I be any good of use to you when I'm no good of use to myself? Stop tolerating the disrespect to keep the peace. And it's not keeping peace for you, it's keeping them peaceful so that you ain't got to hear anything from them. No, no. Walk away from the abuse. Pray that God open the right door for the job who will appreciate you and know your worth and your value. Don't allow anyone to call you out your name because you're not that. If you was that, God went and gave you a name by at birth. He gave your parents a name or whoever named you, your guardian, a name for you. And you are to call me that. I am not every foul word that comes to your, head. I'm not the B, I'm not the MF, I'm not none of that. I'm not a whore. I am use me for them. I am Brittany Owens. That is who I am, and that's what I would prefer for you to call me. And if you can't reference me or prefer reference me in that manner in my name, well, don't say anything at all. You know, and that is a part of setting healthy boundaries while you're healing. And when you stop being everything to everybody and stop being the emotional dumping ground and you stop laughing at the disrespect and you stop playing those roles, any of your relationship with others will take a shift. You know, some people don't know how to relate to the healed version of you. It's foreign to them. It's like they speak English and you trying to teach them Japanese. They It's foreign to them and they don't want to get with the program. They're okay with the unhealed version of you, and you have to be okay with letting those people exit. They were comfortable with your trauma responses. They let you wild out. They already know if they take you to the club, you're going to jail because somebody stepped on your toe. Somebody stepped, you know, you seen your boo, your ex boo with his new boo. Like, come on, they already know. Yeah, like y'all young people like to say now, the new terminology is, oh, you gonna crash out. And what did crash not get you? A free ride I'm in Orlando, Florida, so I'm gonna say the 33rd, or, you know, like a fool. That's what it got you. So the ones that are not able to relate to the hill version of you, allow them to walk away because it was comfortable when you had no boundaries, when you said yes out of guilt. Oh, I want to go to the club this weekend. I want to smoke and I want to drink. I ain't got nobody to do it with. Okay, well, I ain't do I do it. You know. No, that's not who you are. You don't have to settle or people please to be loved or to be validated, to be acknowledged. You don't have to do what other people do to blend in, to fit in, just so that you can have a friend. Like, no, like, no. It was comfortable because you said yes out of guilt. You stayed quiet to avoid the conflict. And when you were exhausted, you were still accessible. Like, some people don't understand that, girl, hey, I ain't doing it this week and I just need to rest. But yeah, you're like, well, I go. And then now you're operating from a place of burnout because you needed to rest. You was exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, and yet you still going. So now you in overdrive and you can't function. You can't think. You have no sense of clarity or guidance to what you're doing and where you're going because you're exhausted. And when you started choosing rest, when will you start choosing your clarity? When will you start choosing yourself? You giving people all this access and you tired, you got a brain fog, you can't think clearly, you're in fight or flight, your nervous system all jacked up, and you still refuse to choose yourself. When you start resting, choosing clarity, peace, choosing yourself, loving yourself, that make people uncomfortable, especially the ones who like the unhealed version of you. Like that really makes them uncomfortable. And if you are the breaker in your family, this part hits even deeper because you're doing something no one modeled for you. And most of the time, the ones who have to go through this lonely period of healing, of transformation, are mostly the ones who never had it exemplified for them. So not only are you healing and you coming out of toxic trauma, wounds, and scars, but you doing it by faith. Walk by faith and not by sight because the only confidence in God you got is God being a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path because ain't nobody else tell you how to get out, or how to overcome, or how to be free and walk in healing and freedom. Because if we being honest, I'm gonna take a pause here for a minute from my notes, but if we being honest, grandma, auntie, cousin, all of them, they wish they had the courage to do what you're doing. Some of us are in sickness and disease, uh, cancers and different things because we held on to unforgiveness. We held on to being bitter in our heart. Wish we shoulda, coulda, woulda done. A lot of our parents, women's, grandmothers, mothers, aunts, great aunts, different things like that. They, oh well, I know he was cheating, but he paid the bills. Oh, I stayed around because that's what the pastor told me to do. And some of our motherly figures are rooting for us because, and at the same time mad or jealous because wow, they made a way out. They figured out how to be healed whole so that they can thrive and that they don't have to live in this cycle of survival. Like some people, grandparents, grandmothers are happy for you, and then you got other grandmothers that don't want to see you doing better than them because they put up the abuse. They put up with the toxic cycles. They put up with all the things that they wish they could have got of. They put family first, or their husband and their needs and their mate needs, and they couldn't go to school to be that nurse, doctor, lawyer, judge, or whatever the case may be. And now you decided, hey, this don't serve me any purpose, so I'm walking away from it. And I'm choosing me, and I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna get that degree. I'm not gonna have children out of wedlock, or I'm not gonna have children and I can't afford them. Like that's breaking bloodline, the generational curses and strongholds, and some of them don't want to see you make it out because they didn't make it out. So what they gonna do? They gonna pray on your downfall, and you have to learn how to what come back and say, just because they were don't mean that I am. I'm gonna be different, and even if I have to do this 1,000 times before I get it right, at least I took the leap of faith to try something different than to steady stay in a cycle that did my mother no good, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my aunt, my great aunt no good. Like, Lord, I ain't got the answers, but I'm committed. If you lead, I'll follow, Father. You show me, because I want to create a legacy of wholeness, of respect, of peace, of joy, of love, of laughter. That's my nugget. So don't be afraid of the journey that you're on because you're doing something no one ever modeled for you. I mean, no one. And you're choosing therapy over silence. A lot of times you're told, oh, you don't need no therapist. No, therapy work good with the Bible and good with reading different books that'll help you through the season that you're in your life. One thing that we lack, I say, for instance, in our community or growing up, is not being taught about finances. So just like you'll pick up a book or you'll go to your banking specialist to talk about your finances or to know what credit is, to establish credit, build credit. The same thing you have to do with therapy. You got to get to the root core of it and see what caused it and read books to help you get over it. Talk to people. Therapy is good and reading the Bible is good too. It have a lot of it's our instructions in to navigate this thing called life. And you have to choose accountability over blame, learning how to take ownership over your situation, your circumstances, and being accountable to saying, hey, it wasn't my fault, but I am accountable to how I move forward from this. Because sometimes survival mode is not our fault. The abuse is not our fault. Sometimes the cycles are not our fault. And we all, I think, can agree that we understand the definition of, oh, they did the best they could with the knowledge that they had, but we have more resources, we have more tools, we have more wisdom and knowledge provided to us. And as you get therapy, as you seek reading books, you begin to grow. And now you have to use those resources and tools that are God given to God gives us other resources and tools and people so that we can grow, so that we don't have to go the long route and have a long healing journey. We don't have to be like the woman with the issue of blood of 12 years, you know. If we could just have faith and reach out and step out, God will do the rest. And it ain't gonna have to take as long as it took your auntie, your grandma, me, or anybody else, because all of these resources are available to you. And when you are choosing emotional wellness, you're choosing that over suppression. You're not holding it in, creating that unforgiveness, creating that bitterness that causes the pain, the sickness in your body. Because that's where it comes from. Learn how to be free for you. Forgiving is for yourself. You don't have to deal with sickness, diseases, body aches, headaches, whatever the case may be. When you choose to forgive the person, the circumstance, the situation, the job, whatever it was that caused your drama, when you do that, you are now choosing safety over survival. And that can feel lonely because you're walking a path that's new. But let me tell you something that might shift your perspective. Lonely does not mean abandoned. Lonely does not mean you're wrong. Lonely does not mean go back. Please don't go back. If it wasn't good for you then, it will not be good for you now. So do not go back. Sometimes lonely means you are between versions of yourself, between the unhealed and the healed, the broken and the whole. And you're shedding who you had to be and stepping into who you are actually called to be. And that in between space is sacred. It's uncomfortable, but it's sacred. And sometimes it makes you scared because when you've lived in survival mode for years, your nervous system get used to chaos. Chaos feels normal. Noise feels productive. Constant movement feels safe. Peace feels suspicious. Stillness feels like something bad is about to happen. It's always on alert. And when healing introduces quiet, your body doesn't immediately celebrate, it panics. Because what is this? I thought chaos was normal. I thought cussing, fighting, fussing, arguing was normal. I thought to have a healthy relationship, we had to be beating on one another, you know? But that doesn't mean you're failing because now peace, joy, laughter, love is becoming your new normal. It means your body is learning safety for the first time. And learning safety can feel unfamiliar before it feels secure. If healing feels lonely right now, I want you to reflect on something. Are you lonely or are you evolving? Because evolving requires space, time alone, isolation. It requires separation from patterns. It requires clarity so that you can think clear. And sometimes it requires distance from what once felt familiar. You cannot build a safe, life while staying attached to unsafe cycles. It won't work. You'll end up going back into what wounded you, what was unstable, what was toxic, what was abuse, whether it was physically, mentally, emotionally, or sexually or spiritually. You cannot go back. It requires you to push forward for safety. And sometimes it requires you to continue to be distant. You cannot build a safe life while staying attached to unsafe cycles. You cannot grow in peace while feeding chaos. You cannot heal while constantly reopening wounds to keep other people comfortable. You can't. You cannot go back to that relationship. It didn't work. He beat you. Y'all got probably about 5, 6, 7 domestic violence cases open. You got a case with Department of Children and Families. You can't go back to keep other people company. You can't go back to be a punching bag. You cannot go back to be somebody's security, stability because they need a roof over their head. They want to use you for what you can offer. You can't. And you cannot grow in peace while feeding chaos. You cannot heal while constantly reopening wounds to make other people feel comfortable. And yes, sometimes growth costs proximity, but temporary isolation is better than permanent dysfunction. I had seasons where I felt misunderstood, where I felt like I was ahead of the conversations happening around me, where I felt like I was grieving relationships that technically still existed. Telling you, you ever been in a relationship or not just like relationship mate wise, but I'm talking about like friendship, partnership, business ship, and you knew it was time to let go and you was already grieving the loss. And I tell people not to dismiss the dead that's actually in the ground, but try grieving someone who's still alive, grieving people, places, things that's still alive. That cut just as deep because I guess it goes with the saying that some people are in your life for a reason, a season, a blessing, or a lesson. And it's hard to grieve someone that's still present, you know? And with that being said, like I would rather be lonely and growth than crowded by dysfunction. And I know you feel that too. You don't want the old life anymore. Pursuing this new life of healing, being whole, feels different. It feels like I was better off where I was, but in actuality, you're just in the middle of being transformed. And I know that it's uncomfortable and you don't want to keep passing pain forward. So don't reactivate the old version of you anymore. You want safety, and I mean real safety. That kind that lives in your body, the kind that lives in your home, the kind that lives in your relationship, and building that kind of safety takes courage. It takes boundaries, it takes awareness, it takes accountability, it takes space, isolation, set off, and alone. It does. So if this season feels quiet, stay. If this season feels stretching, grow, grow through it. If this season feels lonely, trust it because you are not losing people. You are losing patterns. And what is meant for the healed version of you will find you. You're not crazy for wanting peace. You are not dramatic for needing space. And you are not selfish for choosing yourself. You are healing. And healing is brave. And as we get ready to wrap up this episode, when healing feels lonely, I want to end with a prayer. And you can close your eyes, you can sit on your bed, or you go in the bathroom, whatever is your safe space in the closet. But I want to pray a special prayer over you. Father God, we come to you honest. Healing feels lonely sometimes. And you see it. You see us. You see me. You see the quiet nights. You see the tears we don't explain to anyone. The silent tears sitting in our car, laying in our bed, sitting in the bathroom, or in that secret place. Lord, you see the relationships that have shifted. You see the strength it takes not to go back. So, God, when growth feels isolating, please remind us, remind me, we are not abandoned. When peace feels unfamiliar, Lord, calm our nervous systems, Lord. Teach our bodies that safety is not a threat. Help us not confuse loneliness with failure. Help us to trust that in between season is preparation and not punishment. Lord, strengthen the woman who is breaking cycles without applause. Comfort the woman grieving who she had to become to survive, Lord. Protect the woman building something new for her children. Send aligned friendship. Send her tribe, oh God. Send safe love. Send community that honors growth. But until it arrives, Lord, be enough, oh God. Be everything that she needs, the provider, the protector, the shelter, the comforter, the waymaker, oh God. Anchor us, stabilize us, cover us as we trust you with the becoming of being healed and whole. In Jesus' mighty name we and we say, Amen. And if you have prayed that prayer, just believe that it is so and continue to exercise your faith by stepping out, doing your part, and allowing God to do the rest. And He said He's close to the brokenhearted and He will mend the broken pieces. Let God restore. Let Him put you back together. Let Him cleanse you. Let Him make you pure. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, beautiful, for joining me. And I will see you all on the next episode. Thank you. And remember, this is Pray First Safe, where we run from toxic into safe. Bless you.